Hello, my friends. Welcome to another live stream. I'm Rachel Archelaus, founder of the Intuitive Art Academy. This is Carrie Roldan, your business BFF, and we're here to talk about your fantasy year. I just thought this would be so much fun because I'm in the middle of kind of redoing things, redoing my website, envisioning what I want for the year. A lot of my friends have finally gotten a little bit of clarity on what they want their year to look like. And I just thought it would be so much fun to throw out probability, throw out the past, and just dream into what we want our year to be like without any limitations. Because why not? So if you want to share any of that with us, you can put it in the chat. We'd like to hear from you anyway. And this is kind of Carrie's expertise. She's incredible at helping us access the feeling of our dreams. And I don't know what she does, so she'll explain it better than me. But this is what she does in our coaching group. So if you like this, go check that out for more info, intuitiveart.com. So hi, Corinne. Hi, Guillaume. I'm so glad that you are happy to be here.
Me too. And I am freaking thrilled to be here. Although I'm going to admit my distraction early on. So remember back in the day when you were like on phone calls or you were on video and you couldn't see yourself? Anyone remember that? Well, initially when I started doing live videos, I liked to be able to see myself. I liked using the camera as a mirror. I don't know. I liked it. But today I'm not liking it all that much. And it is because this is the stupidest thing, but if I say it out loud now, then it won't bother me the whole time. Is you guys look at how good Rachel looks today. Her makeup looks good. Her hair looks good. Like she's super put together. And I came on today and I mean, my hair looks all right. You don't want to see the back, but like the front, it's hanging in there. But I realized, I don't have any eye makeup on. I have mascara on. And I'm looking at Rachel with these beautiful giant eyeballs. And I was like, my eyes look so small. So now that I've acknowledged that my eyes look small, I feel like I can have a conversation with you. Dreamcasting. Yes, it's my jam. Dreaming things into being. Like when I discovered that was a real thing, like that dreams were useful, that spending time in the energy of your dream. I mean, who doesn't love that, right? Who doesn't love to maybe people don't. I freaking love to spend time thinking about what it could be like, what it will be like, how that will feel. Like that's amazing. I live for that. And when I realized it's actually useful, it's a tool, it can help us get there. I mean, that was the best thing ever. So I'm super excited to talk about it today. And Rachel and I both have recently had some epiphanies. And I have been talking to clients saying things like, remember Rachel's drawing, remember, but it's neat to see that as we have allowed ourselves to spend time in being, and for me, and I know for you, Rachel, that meant spending time being in a little bit of uncomfortableness, like just trying to find something that felt a little better. It has opened the door to clarity, to access to a new dream, to a new level of the dream, to like things that we hadn't considered. For me, I'm sure this happens to you a lot as well. I know it does because I'm your friend. But it's like, I will have this epiphany about this new dream and everyone else is like, yeah, that's amazing. That's perfect for you. I totally see you as that. But for me, it's like this big revelation, like, oh, I can have that. So it's really not even a new dream. It's just a new level of allowing, right? It's allowing more and more and more of what I want, what the dream probably was when we were tiny children. So anyways, I'm having so much fun playing in that arena.
I just have to tell you, just you saying that right now is such a huge validation. Because the other day I was leaving my other friend a message and I was like, I really still want to go to school. I'm in the process of applying, but it kind of feels like Rachel's just got another thing that she wants to do. It's like, I was feeling a little bit down about that. Like, what's wrong with me sometimes, or I have like these huge dreams and I want to keep achieving more and more and more just for me, not for any other reason. Which sometimes makes it harder because I just want to spend $30,000 because I feel like it. So I had kind of felt like that, but everyone around me is like, yeah, that's your next step. Like, of course it is. You've always wanted to do that. And what you just said is it's the same dream. It's the same dream. It's just the next level of it. So I don't know who needed to hear that, but that's really helpful.
Well, good. And I want to say to you and getting your PhD, like when you mentioned that to me a while back, I was like, you don't need that. You don't need that to do what you want to do, right? But as I spent time in your presence and talking about you and your dreams and where you want to go, you still don't need it to do what you want to do, but you want it. And it's the next step for you. And what I love about that, what we know, right? What did you say 3 weeks ago? Let serendipity be your calendar. Is that as you pursue that, already serendipities are happening. Like already as you started to pursue that, something amazing and serendipitous just happened to where you're like, oh my goodness, right? Only more of that will come because you're moving daily in the direction of your dreams. Do you need a PhD to do whatever it is you're going to do in the world? I don't know, probably not. But is a PhD the next step or one of the steps towards your serendipitous arrangement of your future? If it feels good, absolutely. So yeah, I had actually a similar experience happen last night. Those of you who watch, you guys know I'm a verbal processor. I discover things about myself through conversation. And I'm sure you guys have all watched it happen like live on this channel. But it happened for me last night where I just got to show up powerfully in my truth with my daughter and another with my daughter's coach. And oh my goodness, it like opened up, right? I'm ready for the next step now. And it opened up a whole new career path that like just finally feels clear. So yeah. Yes.
Yes. So I know what I've been experiencing is my intuitive art has been preparing me for this. It's been telling me that to really feel how I want to feel, I need to get a little bit more grounded. And thinking about how I've been doing certain things over the years that have been working and that have been fun, but I've been playing up in the clouds a little bit with some things, which is fine. That's a playground up there. But again, for me to feel how I want to feel, my higher self is like, okay, settle in, settle down, get rooted. And as I've been doing that, which honestly took me not doing a lot of things, I had to rest for a good 2 months, not push anything, not do anything extra work-wise, not try to figure anything out. I had to like settle back down into my body. And that helped me get here to where, all right, the things that I want are coming to me. I'm keeping, one step in front of the other in the direction of grounded, feeling good, solid. And then my path is really lining up. And the worthiness is there to receive the clues, right? Like happened for Carrie last night, happened for me last Friday, where it's like, no, you're good enough right now. You have everything you need right now. Just keep going. You'll pick up more along the way. Like I do want to go back to school, but it's because I'm going to enjoy it mostly. I want to be in that environment and work with those people and do all the things that school entails. It's not to get another degree. I don't need another degree. It's just another perk. So I hope that's helpful to hear, because that's exactly what this year has said too, like Carrie alluded to, is this is all grounding here in the beginning of the year. This is like finding yourself, finding your spine. Where are you? What is your truth? And then we venture out a little bit and we start on our authentic path, which might be a little different, right? It might trigger the people around us. It might trigger our own sense of, can I say that? Can I do that? Can I have that? But we do get through it. And then we find that deeper harmony and alignment and structure. But the grounding, if we skip the grounding, we're not going to get very far. It's going to be we're going to feel very exposed. We're not going to feel like we have a safe shelter to go back into. So do this in any way that you can if you're feeling a little wobbly still. Not that you should feel, certain right now or anything else, but if you want to feel better, if you want to feel more rooted, find a way to ground, meditate, walk, do things in silence. I know it's really hard for people, but be with yourself. Even I love silence. Even I find myself like putting on a video so I can walk from my office to the kitchen. Like I don't need to do that all the time. It's okay. But, find some silence, find some peace, and that should help too.
I want to say that both of us also have a new level of appreciation for our physical bodies. Like we've both been we've just sort of been led in our own ways to like grounding in the physical, like being very connected to our physical body. And I'm not saying that like working out is necessarily the thing for everyone, but both Rachel and I separately, like it's not like we got together and said, hey, let's do this. We're really, really drawn to reconnect with our physical body and our love for working our physical body in a way that like is kind of hard and that leaves us feeling tired. I wrote a book a really long time ago, and in that book, I talked about how for me, I often need to exhaust my body in order to quiet my mind. And so I'm bringing that up because if that speaks to anyone here, or you've been like leaning into like wanting to do something with your physical body, like for me, it was a hormone reset that kind of like, I just felt nudged to like, I think it's time to do this. And then that reconnected me to my physical body. Also helped my physical body feel better. So then it made me want to work out in a way that I hadn't been doing for a really long time. So I'm bringing that up because I feel like it's meant for somebody who is here, who either needed like confirmation or that little nudge. It's a good thing to be in your body.
Yeah. Let's stick here for a minute because I've noticed a lot of changes because of that. But first, I want to say hello, Jana. Thanks for being here. I'm glad this is speaking to you and how you've been flowing. And hello, Dale. I'm so glad that you're hearing serendipitous movement.
Somebody's at the door.
So, it's beginning of the year, and a lot of people have made resolutions about who they want to be this year, right? I want to be someone who eats healthier. I want to be someone who moves their body more. I want to be someone who fill in the blank. I've never been into that because the minute I set a goal, it's over. Like that's just how I work. But 3 months ago, I started going to Orange Theory, and I've really been loving it, as you guys know. But the thing is, when you start challenging your body, you realize really quickly what else is working for you and what's not working for you. And so I know on the days where I was eating poorly, but the day before, I definitely felt it in my workout and I couldn't go as hard, or it was just, I felt crummier during it. the days that I was eating like lots and lots of vegetables and, what they tell you to eat, whole grains and all that stuff, lots of protein, I felt better and I could actually move my body better. And it felt like, oh my God, I'm this amazing machine. And it was really addicting to feel good, right? I mean, that's what we talk about here most of the time, not bringing in the physical piece, but our physical bodies are a manifestation of all the other dimensions that we're living in. And so I think the urge to start moving or eating better comes from your greater alignment within yourself. And so even if you're like, well, I'm not a workout person, or I'm not a walker, I'm not a blah, blah, blah. If you start feeling that urge to do something new, go for it and try it out, because you might now be the kind of person that does that, just naturally, maybe for me, eats less chips. I love chips, but I'm not eating as many as I was. I'm not restricting anything. It's just naturally, I just want to feel better. And so I know what to do. That's not to say my body's not revolting a little bit. My hormones are a little weird at the moment, but they'll figure themselves out. I'm also 40 and, maybe going through a little bit of perimenopause. But I just wanted to add that because I didn't start eating better because I thought I should. I've always eaten pretty well, but I started eating even better because it feels better. And I started working out more because it feels good. And that just goes into what we always talk about here. And that feeling good is the path. Feeling good is your alignment. And so anything that you do that feels good is going to add to your ease of achieving all the things on your fantasy list. Right? You feeling good for an extra moment is just one more moment of your open door and letting all of that stuff in. So it's good to know you can start here, you can start here, you can start here, like wherever you are, go for it. And it'll make a really big difference.
Okay. The dogs have almost stopped barking now. I don't know who came to my door. I hope it was a fun package. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about our fantasy list. So it's funny because words really matter to me. And when you talked about a fantasy, I was like, I don't really want a fantasy list. A fantasy to me is something imagined that isn't possible, isn't real, is not achievable. And what I do like about fantasies is when they switch, right? When something you think is a fantasy then switches over to like, oh, wait, that's a dream. Oh, shoot, that's an intention. Like, that is what I think is magic. But I just want to like say to everyone here, whatever is in your fantasy life can be in your real life. Even if it's impossible. Like, what the heck? I remember watching the Jetsons when I was a kid, and they had like TV phones on their wall. And I was like, wouldn't that be cool if you could like see people when you like made a phone call? And now I have a TV phone in my, like I talked to my daughter. Oh, that's a cool picture of my husband. I talked to my daughter last night on FaceTime, like total Jetsons, right? It was a fantasy. It was like not real until it was. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I feel the same way about that word. And I think that's why I used it, because there is nothing unlimited. There is nothing impossible, right? Everything is possible. And if we can just like broaden our scope of what we would like to experience, even if it is a fantasy, then it's possible, right? And we can let it in. And especially, I know we say this almost every year, especially now, this year, like you've seen how quickly things are happening. And I mean, I might be getting a new car this weekend because long story, but like things are happening really fast. And it's just fun. Okay, so I'll start. If you're here, put something in the chat that would just be a total fantasy of what you'd love to experience. And I'll say sometimes having it be a fantasy is in your favor, because then you're not going to actively resist it, because you're like, well, that'll never happen. So yeah, I want that. Of course I want that. Very low resistance in that. So, okay. Well, I would start school in September and be in the master's program, and maybe have a meeting with this professor at a different school that I just learned about. That would be really amazing. I would have a publisher seek me out to republish my books and make me a worldwide viral sensation. Let's see, Intimate Alien would get a TV show. That'd be really cool. And of course, I can do all of this at the same time. I'm Rachel Archelaus. I would go to Europe with my sister to have a really beautiful, fun time. And I would get to hang out with my BFF group in Malibu on the beach. And maybe Carrie would go for a really slow run with me. That would be really fun.
Oh, yay. Okay. So, what is fascinating to me? So, tell me about how this feels for you. Like, does it feel like fantasy?
It feels like a marshmallow. Like, I could definitely, of course it could happen, but it doesn't feel like, I mean, it's parts of those things I can see happening, but parts of them I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I would never really think of them happening all at once, I think.
Okay, you guys, let me know in the chat how Rachel's fantasy is landing for you. Especially those of you who are here on a regular basis. All of the things that she just said, do they seem like fantasy? Do they seem like unicorns, bouncing on clouds? And does it seem like watching the Jetsons TV phones or the robot housekeeper? I want one of those so bad. Does it seem like that when you hear Rachel's fantasies? I also see that there are people who are putting theirs in, which is really, really good. So, okay, thank you, Jana. That's what I was getting at, is like, yeah, that seems like a to-do list. Like, that seems like, to me, hearing it, and that's the beauty of this, right? Is recognizing that thing inside of you that feels kind of like ethereal and magical. And wouldn't it be amazing if, like, when we hold it in that space, it feels good to hold it in that space and nurture it and have it be a dream and a fantasy. But once you just put it out there, like you just did, like, duh, you've already created all of that. Of course that's happening for you. Like, when you say it to me, it's not a fantasy, because I can see your truth. And I'm like, girl, yes, of course. And more, and even better. So, and so I hope it's really affirming to see what people are saying. Guillaume's also saying it sounds amazing and she will achieve her desires. But the point is, achieve is like a catchy word for us, right? Because it sort of insinuates that we have to like do something hard in order to get those things. And I just want you to hear, like, of course this is happening. Like, you're already applying to master's programs. You just discovered this professor, and we know how things work in your life quickly, and people come to you, and like, it's probably going to be even better than just meeting this person. Like, you're going to find out they have a podcast and you're going to be invited to speak on it or something like that. And the publisher seeking you out, like, that is going to be so fun to watch how that happens. Right? Because the truth is, we all know Rachel is a publisher. She can self-publish. Like, she has a publishing company. She can do that. But it's a fantasy for her to like be asked, like, to not Rachel push her work out into the world, but for the world to be like, I really want to publish your work. So of course it's going to happen. Of course it's going to happen. and Intimate Alien and her own TV show. From the moment I met Intimate Alien, I was like, girl, you're going to be on TV. Right. And so that's fun. So I'm not like a talent scout or anything, but I know if you've watched enough American Idol or anything with Simon Cowell, like you just sort of know like when he sees it, right? When he's like, oh, that's it. Oh, that, right? There's a lot of talented people who are incredible, who are never going to be superstars. But like most of us, when we met Intimate Alien, we're like, oh, yeah, she's going to be a superstar. And so, yeah, anyways, all of this is to be said. Oh, and then so BFF is my mastermind that Rachel is a part of. And I don't know if I want us to be in Malibu, but I'll show up. But someplace maybe even warmer than Malibu with a little less traffic. And I will totally run slow with you on the beach. So that doesn't have to be a fantasy. That can just be something that we plan. So I guess what I just want to say, though, and I hope you guys are experiencing this with me and with Rachel, because I'm about to divulge my fantasy, is that it is good and safe and important to nurture that fantasy and have it be a feeling that bubbles up inside of you and have it be something. Jerry Hicks would talk a lot about, like, don't share your dreams until they're ready. Right? And I never understood that, but now I totally get it. Like this idea of when you're aligned with speaking it out loud, then it becomes true. Then it is. So her fantasy, I hope you just all saw this. I don't know that this was your plan for today, Rachel, but I just watched it happen. You just took your fantasy into an intention. It's pretty rad.
I knew that would happen because we have you. This is what Carrie does. See, like I didn't plan what I was going to say. I just kind of felt into it in the moment. But yeah, those are the things I would love to have happen. And that I'm not actively planning on, which is something interesting. We don't need to, but it's interesting that that's not in my expectation, right? But then Carrie was like, oh my gosh, of course that can happen for you. It's already happening. It's your truth. And so now I'm like, oh yeah, I can expect those things. And therefore they'll find me quicker. And she's like, yeah, now it's an intention. And so that's why I love Carrie and her skill set to be able to like manipulate our energy back to us in such a way where we agree with that. You know, it's really amazing.
Well, you said it. Serendipity is your calendar. So all these things are going to happen to you serendipitously. And you know that. You can feel secure in that. Like you have a knowing there. And thank you for reflecting me back to me. So I think it's fun because Jana's here. And Jana is an expert in human design. And I have been like kind of in a human design deep dive for the time being. And I already knew that I was something called a projector, but I am learning that that is one of my gifts, is that I am literally an amplifier. So I take whatever you give and give it back in a way that makes you feel better about it. So that's what's really fun. It's like you're saying, oh, Carrie's coming with her particular skill set. And that's the beauty of being really aligned. It's when you're aligned and you're channeling, you don't think like, oh, I'm using my skills. You're just like showing up as yourself. And same, like it feels a little silly to me to be like that for you to say like, she's using her skills. And I'm like, this is not skill. This is just alignment. And holy crap, it feels amazing.
Yes. Do you want to share yours or do you want to go through the list first? What would you rather do?
Ooh, gosh, I don't know. I was going to say, yeah, I think so. Mine definitely feels like you guys know that I would have to verbalize it. It comes out as verbal vomit until it makes sense for me. So why don't we start with everybody else and then we'll process mine.
Okay, cool. All right. So it looks like the first one might be Dolores. She is going to be a best-selling kidlit author. Yes.
Okay, is Kidlit a thing? I thought maybe that was a typo.
I think Kidlit is a thing. Children's literature.
Oh, I was thinking it was like Kindle, but it was like an autocorrect situation. Of course you are, Dolores. So sometimes it's helpful to know someone who knows someone who knows someone. So I think I've told you I have a dream of becoming a lottery winner. That is a fantasy of mine. And I don't like it when people call it a fantasy because, like, if I believe it, it can happen. But it is super fun for me to know that, like, I am closely connected to lottery winners. And, like, that is reassuring. So what I wanted you to know, Dolores, is I know someone who is a best-selling young adult literature and now children's literature author, and has gotten all kinds of awards. And I just want to tell you that she's a normal person, and her journey to getting there was totally incredibly serendipitous. Like, you can't make it up. It was a dream that she had that she thought she couldn't get, because who actually, like, what percentage of people actually become successful at it? But she did. And in the most incredible way, in the most beautiful surprise and delight way. Her life took her, I think I already told this story on this channel, but I'll tell it again. Her life took her someplace that she didn't really want to go and felt like she had to. And she met another mom in like a homeschooling parenting group or something. And that mom was Cheryl Strayed. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but she's like a New York Times bestselling author. Reese Witherspoon turned her book Wild into a movie. She was like on Oprah's book club, which, I mean, I think that's still a dream of every author, but back in the Oprah days, that was like the height of awesomeness, like for Oprah to choose you. And Cheryl Strayed was this other mom in her writers group who was kind of like, yeah, it's finally happening for me. Like, maybe it'll happen for you. And then because she knew someone, it went from the realm of fantasy to the realm of possibility. And so I just want to say, now you know someone who knows someone. So if you don't already know all the someones, of course it's going to happen. But I feel like your fantasy, Dolores, is less about being best selling, is about like validation and recognition. But I feel like what you're wanting to do is positively affect the lives of millions of children, right? Like, make a difference, have your work be on shelves for generations. Like, that's cool stuff to have the children who are going to read your books or are reading your books now read those books to their children because they made a meaningful impact on their lives. That's what's happening for you. We both shrugged at the same time.
Yeah, I love that. I'll also tell you, Dolores, that I have a friend who wrote a whole series of children's books and then self-published them. And then without her asking anyone, her dad smuggled one of her books into a book fair, and Scholastic found it and decided to purchase it and put it in their book fairs in America into like the curriculum that they did. And so like she had no part of that except she wrote her books that she wanted to write. And, you know, those purchase orders are huge. So I just want to let you know that, yes, it does happen. And it's happening to you.
It really is.
Okay, let's see. Well, this is not, it doesn't have to be humor. I love this. Jana says, I would love to have my 25-year-old body with my 51-year-old mind.
I don't think that is humor. And I don't think it's impossible. I don't. That is what I was wanting too. I was feeling very much trapped in a body that didn't feel good anymore, that when I looked in the mirror looked more like my mom's body than my own, that was causing me pain and discomfort. And it didn't happen instantly, but like a book that I just continued to look at on my shelf over and over finally was like, read me. And then in the reading of that book, I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. And then in the doing of it, my body changed. Am I to my 25-year-old body yet? No, but I am starting to see it. I'm starting to recognize it. I'm starting to remember it. And that feels incredible. And now I am feeling like, oh, I'll see my 25-year-old body again, only probably better, right? With more mature muscles, with like maybe my skin won't hang exactly on my body the way it once did, but maybe it will. So I don't think it's humor at all. I think that it can move from the realm of fantasy to intention, but it's okay if it hangs out in the realm of fantasy for a while. Like, it's okay if it hangs out in the realm of fantasy, in the realm of like, I mean, I couldn't possibly, that's not real. Nobody reverse ages, right? It's fine if you live there for a while. But if you continue to desire it and you're open, a way will show up for you.
Yeah. Yeah. When I started Orange Theory, I didn't expect a huge physical change just because like I'm a very active person anyway. But man, I'm getting like, it's definitely doing a lot. I'll just say that. I don't want to like, put numbers in or anything, but you can even see my face is smaller than it used to be. And my muscles are coming back and it's just really cool to watch. It's just so fun. It's like that extra perk, but I got here by doing something I enjoy, and that's how you'll get there too. So I'm going to get back to you, Dale, because I know you put that in again with something else. So Dale, we'll get to you. But Meg, hello. Yes, paid off mortgage by June 2023 and have my mom fully moved with the house sold by September. That feels like freedom to me.
Yeah, same. That feels relaxing and comfy. I'm getting the feeling of like, like just falling back into into like pillows at the end of a long day. Gosh, and that feeling, it feels like a deep exhale, which feels amazing. So the path to that, right? There are probably some steps you need to take, but ultimately is being in that feeling, remembering the feeling you will feel at the end, having your mortgage paid off. Oh man, that is safety, that is security, that is like the cozy bed, like knowing. I mean, to me, there's a phrase that's like one less thing to worry about, but it's so much bigger than that. It is, I'm struggling for the word, so I hope my imagery is doing it for you, but it really is just like relaxing in that comfy bed. And to have your mom fully moved with the house sold by September, that feels like a joyful end of a long road.
We love it, Meg. It's done. Oh, I should have brought my wand.
Of course, though. I mean, that's the thing. Like this. So I guess I want to say, really, Meg, that's your fantasy. Like, come on, dream bigger. I mean, no judgment. A little judgment. Like, come on, Meg, that's a fantasy. I guess I feel the same way about Rachel's too, though. Like, that's a fantasy. Come on, you can do better than that. Like that. Of course, that's happening because you desire it, because it's a reasonable thing to expect. Maybe the paying off your mortgage feels big and scary, but I don't know. It seems very attainable for you. And I know that actually sounds like a great one for me. So as I'm saying it back, that does sound like a fantasy for me, and I would really like it. So thanks, Meg. I'm gonna put it on my list.
I know that's very on brand for Carrie. She loves a good paid off thing, whatever it is.
I sure do. It's my favorite. It's my favorite.
All right. Dolores is adding to live in the country near a freshwater lake. Yeah, me too. I love all things lakes, swimming, kayaking, watching the little fish under there. So cute. All right, now we're on to Guillaume receiving.
I want to go back to Dolores for just a
Oh,
sec.
sure.
I just want to say, you did it again, Dolores. You just turned that from a fantasy to an intention. Like, it just happened. It just went from something you would really like to someday, right? To something that, like, oh, I would really like that. Let's watch how that unfolds in my life this year. All right, Guillaume.
Receiving lots of money from the sale of my ebooks and audiobooks and studying at a Canadian university working toward a bachelor's degree.
This
You
one's
got a yawn, Guillaume. That's a good sign.
So for me, Guillaume, because like, I know these are your intentions. I've known these are your intentions for a while. And I think that for you, what is standing out for me is the Canadian university. Like, that is the thing that is standing out. So just like Rachel, so my guess is there's a belief that is like, I have to sell a lot of books so that I can afford to go to the Canadian university. There may be something in your brain that says, I need this before this and that. So guilty of this, by the way. So guilty of this. I think it's human of us. And so my encouragement is to say, yes, all of these things will happen. Of course they will. You've been wanting them and intending them for such a long time, but you might have to mix them up. You might have to jumble up the order so that you can relax and find receiving mode. Find, like, I'm so guilty of this. Like, when I try to receive, it's hard to find. So, like, I just think there's something there about Canada, Canadian university, bachelor's degree. Like, that's the place to start. That's the place to turn your head. And then let serendipity be your calendar. So I don't know, have you already filled out applications? Is there, I just feel like there's a little bit of momentum there already, Guillaume.
Yes. Awesome. Okay. And Dale has a couple, and they're important.
Okay.
So being sought after feels fun for her. Going to Belize with me sounds like fun. Imagining.
Oh, that's us running on the beach with her in Belize, I bet.
On it. Yes. Thank you for the invitation. And the dreaming feels less grounding, though. What do you say? Because let's just say Dale is in our group. She is a magician. She intends and it comes to her. So that's what I like about this. Like, maybe the dreaming feels less, maybe that's less part of her natural process. I don't know. Because she's good at this.
So Dale, you ground in all kinds of ways. And I cannot remember, were you on our last streamcasting? Shoot, was this streamcasting? This is the problem, right? When you lead a lot of group calls, I can't remember what, especially when you lead intuitively, I don't always remember what we did where. But where we expanded our energy and then we brought it through us, right? Like, we got to go out of our bodies and feel the expansiveness of it and then bring it through us. But we did that. Remember, we got up and we moved our bodies first. And you are like, ecstatic dance is like a huge part of who you are. And also using your voice, just that's your instrument. Like, doing those things with your body, even though they may feel like kind of out there, that is grounding. Like, it can be grounding for you. And so I don't know, is that helpful to recognize, like, you can ground your dreams? One of the ways I ground my dreams is I run and I dream when I'm running. And then I sometimes will whisper my dreams to the trees. And then I imagine that the trees, so like the leaves of the trees are hearing what I have to say, and they're taking it down through the trunk of the tree. And then the tree is the network of roots is spreading the word about my dreams, right? It's literally grounding them in the earth and telling the other tree roots, I'm like, pass it on. And so that's being super imaginative, but also helps me feel deeply grounded. You guys, I have to let my dog out. She's quite demanding. So how's that landing?
Yeah, so she did say spending time dreaming, she means. And daydreaming for her is easy. Making the point of dance and speaking, like the combination. Yeah. And whispering to the trees. Yeah. One thing that stood out to me, Carrie read this book a while ago, and it suggested spending like an hour a day dreaming. And I just thought that that was pretty brilliant because we are the creators. And for me, dreaming is more about receiving than conjuring, right? It's receiving the vortex, it's receiving my potential, the possibility. So it's an hour in receiving mode and connecting more directly, more specifically with where we're heading. And it just feels like you're bolstering your vibration, right? In that matching place. So that's how I view dreaming. If that's helpful for you. But I think you got a lot out of what Carrie was saying from the sound of it. Very, very cool.
Well, and it is about, right? The whole point of dreaming or fantasizing is to allow yourself to feel the feelings of it. I think the beauty of a fantasy is giving yourself access to things, feelings, thoughts, ideas that you don't give yourself access to on the daily. And so dreaming is just about allowing more of that access, right? It's just, and I think we used to do a lot more of it when we were little. I know you've heard me talk about that Don't Quit Your Daydream song.
Yes.
And I want to go back to Guillaume, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Guillaume says, Carrie, I haven't applied because I need to contact a couple of colleges to get transcripts. And I had problems getting in contact with them as they have no contact details. So I don't know what you mean by they have no contact details, but I just want to say, try again when you're in alignment, right? What happens for me, and plus, I don't know, Mercury was in retrograde and that, like, but it's like when things aren't working, I get frustrated and I can stay in that story. But the truth is they have contact details. Other people know how to contact them. And if you went to that school, they also have your contact details somewhere, right? And if they weren't able to find them, if it was an exercise in frustration, right? It's just because you weren't in alignment. And so you can relax and do things that make you feel good and then go back to it. This happens to me all the time, like with technology. I cannot find it. It's not there. And then I relax. I do something fun. I go back to it. I'm like, oh, there's the button. Click. Oh, there it is. Or an email, even better. An email pops up with like everything I already needed. So I just want to encourage you down that road, right? This wasn't a door closed in your face. It wasn't a roadblock. It was just a like recognition, like, oh, I was pushing too hard, or I wasn't in alignment, or I can relax and then go back to it. Because it's when you find your alignment, right? And your alignment is your fantasy. So fantasize about being at that Canadian university and walking the grounds and what the classrooms are going to smell like and the people, the conversations that you're going to have. And I don't know what the Canadian university is going to be like, but imagine yourself there, feel good, and then contact the university.
I mean, to me, it seems like Guillaume is definitely in alignment today because Gina Maria just offered to help him find it. And he just connected with a friend in our chat that he hadn't seen in a while. So seeing serendipity is your calendar, synchronicity, whatever we said. It's all there for you, Guillaume. It's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, I know. Go Guillaume. We have one more, and then I want to hear Carrie's.
Okay.
Okay, so LH is saying, getting a great publishing deal on my novellas and mystery novels, finishing my cantata for chorus, and violin, taking a leisurely trip to Europe. Very nice.
So all of that seems very real. And I don't know if the order that you're listing them, same with Guillaume, like, I don't know if that's an order of priority, but I get the sense like the leisurely trip to Europe might be the catalyst for everything else. So
Yes.
I think that's important because I do the same thing. Like, I'll do this, then I do this so that I can have that. And like, you're in alignment with all of them, and they're all coming to you, and they're all going to happen. So if in the hour after this call you get a pop-up ad for like a river cruise through Europe happens to like come up, like, don't ignore those little serendipities, those opportunities to bask in the ideas, to bask in the idea of that. And then watch how quickly a deal pops up or someone invites you. Like, Rachel and I have so many stories of like friends getting free trips to wherever, like, stuff shows up when you're ready for it. So if there's any resistance coming up to like, oh yeah, leisurely trip to Europe sounds lovely, but forget the but. Just live in the leisurely trip to Europe sounds lovely. Think about what you're going to do and how good it feels that while you're there, you know that your publishing deal is happening. Things are in the work. Things are moving and shaking while you are eat, pray, loving your way through through Europe. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. And I know you guys want to hear mine. And now I have to let my dog in because it is windy outside and she's not having it. Come on in.
I can relate. Well, I'll read Gina Maria's and comment on that. We are back. But Gina Maria said, mine is developing businesses, writing her first book, and healing her body and getting her house. Now that hits all the spots, Gina Maria. That sounds incredible. And we know how absolutely capable you are of all of that. And that sounds like a really fun journey.
And Gina Maria's in our group too, and it's already happening. Mm-hmm. Gina Maria, I hope you don't mind, but even if you do, sorry, because I'm gonna do it. Gonna share that Gina Maria was talking, and she was just talking about all the serendipitous things that are happening and like the good. And she was like, I don't know how it's happening. I don't know how it's happening. And we were like, we do. We know how it's happening. You're doing it. Like, you are in alignment and you're finding your joy and you're allowing more and more in. And when things come in, you're celebrating them. You're acknowledging them. You were saying, I don't know how it happened, but you were also saying, this is amazing. I'm so grateful that it happened. And so of course, all of this is happening because Rachel and I are watching it happen for you. We're seeing it unfold. And I know you were just talking about your book, and of this list, like, that is the one that had the most power for like hit me right now. Like, yeah, she's all fired up and she's got a download and she's ready to go. And so like, ride that wave. And I know I'm going to tell you guys mine, but this is important. And I'm going to get my phone out because so one of the things I'll tell you mine, Gina Maria, and everyone else as I read you my text to my daughter. So something happened yesterday where I had a new appreciation for what makes me so freaking awesome. And it's funny because like, I will say that to the internet. Like, I'm freaking great at this, but I don't always acknowledge it in context, in the context of my life. But basically, well, first let me read what I wrote to Quinn, because I feel like it applies to you. So my daughter was saying that she's running in college and she's had a few rough workouts. And so, oh, holy crap, Gina Maria, pause. She got an interview for a job she didn't even apply for. That's what I'm talking about. So thank you for being the poster child for being in our group. You guys, I feel like it's not very good sales tactics to say, come into our group and magical things will happen. But honestly, come into our group and magical things will happen. Like that. Like Gina Maria having written 2 chapters since the last time we talked and getting a job, an interview for a job that she didn't even apply for. Like, yeah. But what I wanted to say is just, I have a saying with my athletes, and I was telling my daughter this, that pain comes in waves, right? Pain comes in waves, and we just need to learn to ride the waves. But what she was talking about wasn't really pain. It was just like, kind of feeling okay, kind of feeling like, I don't know. And I said, don't stress. Pain, growth, progress, it all comes in waves. Ride them knowing they're taking you where you want to go. And so I just want everyone to hear that. Like, we have waves of, right now, Gina Maria is riding the wave of all things magical happening in her life. And she's on a wave of everything I touch, magic wand wave, right? Maybe that's a big wave. Maybe that wave is going to take her very far, right? But eventually, she's going to reach a new level. She's going to reach a place where she wants to dream for something more, where she's ridden that wave. And that was really fun. Her little boogie board has reached the shore, and now she's on the sand, and she's got to paddle out for another wave, right? She's got to go out to find another fun adventure. And now I don't remember why I was saying that, but maybe because I'm avoiding talking about my own dreams. But that was that. There you go. Little tip from Carrie is this all comes in waves. And I think for people who are waiting for the other shoe to drop or get to a place of like, can it really be this good? Can it, like, the whole point of a fantasy life is that you keep it separate from yourself. And so what we're saying is, get it out loud, say it, it exists, you can have it, you will ride the wave of having it and getting it, and it will be amazing. And there will be more fantasies to come. There will be more waves to ride and more amazing things to have. That whatever your fantasy is right now, you can achieve it very quickly, and that won't be the end for you. There will be more. Okay, it can be this amazing. Mine. So what I recognized is, I've known this for a while, but it didn't feel tangible, is that I want to be a sought after coach for team culture. I want to work with college coaches, high school coaches, people who have an exceptional level of talent and want to know how to get that talent to work together to create something that none of them could do on their own. I want to help coaches get to that next level with their team. And it maybe sounds, I want to be invited to consult with major cross-country and track programs across the country. And I guess I just read somebody's book who does that. And I guess I sort of figured like, well, he does it, so that slot's full. And I had an epiphany today. I was telling Rachel about that. I always thought that what I know about particularly helping women's teams, like what it takes to create a great dynamic on a women's team, I felt like I knew that because I was a woman. And I thought that a lot of what was that the slots that needed to be filled just needed to be filled by women because women know. And what I've come to realize is no, I know. Like some women know maybe, but like, no, it's what I know. Like, I know how to do this. I know how to take a mediocre team or a struggling team, or like, I can see, just like when Rachel said out loud, this is what I want to achieve. And I'm like, yeah, duh, easy, got it. Same thing with teams, particularly women's teams. Like, sure, yeah, you guys can get there. You just got to do this, that, and the other. And I recognize that what is obvious to me isn't obvious to like 99% of the human population and the collegiate coaching population. I know how to do that. And that would be so fun to just spend my time doing that and getting paid piles of money for it and becoming known for it. And I know we're now over. So last thing, and I really want to do it with my husband, because the thing that I'm great at, like we are a great coaching duo, because he's amazing at like the science and the nuts and bolts and the particulars and the workout progression and like all of those things. And I'm incredible at like the intangibles, at the art, at the like just the ooey gooiness of it all. And so that is my fantasy, to have a life where we get to spend our time helping programs be great. Done.
Yes. And I might add that Carrie has gotten local recognition for this. Her peers know this about her. It's building. And as she finds that alignment to allow it to happen more, it is happening more. And it's going to be really fun to watch this blossom for her this year. Because obviously it's done, right? We all know this. And it's really fun to hear how we've seen this for you as long as I've known you. You know, we've seen this for you. You've seen this for me as long as you've known me. Like, none of us are leaping outside of our bounds, you know, like of our alignments. So have confidence in yourself, all of you, that this is a piece of cake. Piece of cake. Let it happen. Don't try to go now, force it. Let it come to you. Walk your own path. Let it come to you.
And you guys know this. The serendipities are already happening. Mm-hmm. With me, my daughter's college coach called me last night to talk about this stuff. Like, college coaches don't ask parents to consult, right? Like, so it's already happening. And like Rachel, like just today, she and I were like, holy crap, it's already happening. And so my challenge to you guys is to recognize all the places that it's already happening.
Yeah. Acknowledge the little things so that there are big things to acknowledge. Yeah. Well, this was so fun, everybody. Thank you so much for sharing your fantasy to intention and your inevitable things that are coming to you. It was really fun for us to share, and I'm so into it. So we do this once a month in our group, where it's actually like face-to-face on GoToMeeting. If you want to join, go to the link I shared. I'm going to email y'all this weekend about that group, so don't join today. Hint, hint. Okay? Hint, hint. But check it out and see if it resonates with you. And thank you, everyone. This was amazing. We love you.
It was. Good luck, guys.
Yeah, and we'll see you next week.